right, welcome back to the Swap Shop. We're going to step aside from our phone calls for a few minutes as we welcome Margaret Murchison, Major Carlton Lyles, and Catherine Perez joining us here in the studio as we're going to talk about the importance of the vaccinations for COVID-19 and how to get the word out to underserved communities in the African American communities and Latin American communities. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning, John. Good morning, listeners. Yes, we do have two, I call them important people in the studios this morning. They're from the Lee County Sheriff's Department, Major Lyles, everybody knows him. And we've got Catherine, and she's a graduate of Southern Lee High School, and she is going to talk to us also. We're going to talk today about the fact that many people are not getting vaccinated, not because it hasn't come their time yet, because maybe they just don't understand or something. And Major Lyles told me it was placed on his heart that we got to get these people vaccinated, because if a certain percentage does not cooperate and get vaccinated, it affects everybody who did get vaccinated. So welcome this morning, and I want you to lay it on the line to our listeners.
Well, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Sanford and Lee County. I want to say hello to, because it's my family. Everybody here is my family. It was placed on my heart because as I watched the different things on TV and the news media was saying that the proportion of minorities that did not get the shot. And I said, well, what I'll do is I'll go in here and I explain what happened to me, how it reacted to me, and then I talked to Catherine, I talked to her, I said, would you like to come up with me to the radio station and we explain to the Hispanic population too about the shot and what kind of reactions that she got from it, because I think this is a very important thing, and I think we all need to participate in it if we want things to get back to some kind of normalcy. And I think that if everybody, I don't know if I'm not 100% right, I don't know if I'm right or not, but I'm just guessing, if everybody would get together. See, anytime you get ready to do something new, when it comes down to it being new, you have that fear. Everybody has that fear of the unknown. And yeah, it's not going to react to people the same way. You're not going to have the same reactions that I may have. You may have less, or you may have more. But the thing about it is, in order for us to get back to some kind of normalcy, I think this is one thing that everybody shouldn't be too afraid to participate in.
What do you think is the problem as far as in the minority community, in the Black community? Is it distrust because of all the things that's happened in the past? Right. And what is the problem in the Hispanic community?
Well, I think that a lot of people within the Hispanic community, they just simply don't know, and they don't know how to translate it since everything is in English. The information is getting mishandled in the translation. So some people are getting told that the vaccines have chips in them, and it's just miscommunication, and that builds fear within the Hispanic community, them not wanting to get it.
And don't you think some are afraid that they might be deported? And when you go or sign up for your vaccination, they don't ask you. But a lot of people don't know that. Yeah. So what do you think can be done in the Hispanic community for people to get the real word, not just, oh, you need to get a shot? But like I told you when I was getting my nails done this week, and I told the girl who was doing my nails that I had just received my second shot. Mm-hmm. And she was real puzzled and asked me, how did I get it? Mm-hmm. She says, I don't know how I can get one, even though she's much younger than I am. And I told her they had not started giving the shots to young people yet. And she said, but I'm a business owner, and we should have our shots because we have to face people every day. And I agreed with that, totally. But I think in order to get them to understand when and to go ahead and sign up, there's going to have to be some community awareness and some community volunteerism to actually, even if it takes walking door to door in the business community saying, look, call this number. You need to register to get your vaccine when your age or your group comes out.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also think that there should be communication within the community. There are ways that within like churches that people can come to, if they can go and tell the right information to the Hispanic community or any other community, so they're not afraid to go get it.
And I think the church is probably the best
Yeah.
way to get the word out, because everybody, some kind of way, get information through churches. It doesn't matter what denomination it is, but people have a connection. They're not inside churches, but there's enough information that people can find out what's going on through the churches. So maybe the announcements and everything should be given to the churches. They have lists telling you the names of churches and who to get in contact with. That could be one way to help. Okay, Major.
And then also, if you go up on the county website, it has a lot of information, and information is in English and it's in Spanish, and it will tell you what group is being vaccinated, and all you have to do, like Miss Margaret was saying, people thinking you've got to give a whole lot of information, but the only thing you have to give is your name and your birth date, and then that way they can put you in which category that's taking the shot, and then as soon as you it comes time your turn in your category to get the vaccination, you'll be notified and you'll automatically know.
Major Lounge, just one little message on that. A lot of people don't have a computer.
Right.
And sometimes we forget. We think because we have technology
Yeah.
that everybody has technology.
Yeah.
But I've learned over the years, even working in media, there are a lot of people, they might have one in their home. They don't know what it is. They don't
Right.
turn it on. And I don't mean Hispanic people. There are a lot of people who don't know anything about computers. Therefore, they are afraid to get information or don't know how to get information from there. So sometimes they have to be that dual way
You're
to
right.
let people know. But Major Lounge, what are people telling you when you ask them, why aren't you going to get your shot? What are they telling you?
A lot of people saying, "Oh man, I heard they're putting a chip inside of you when you get that shot." "Oh man, I heard that all these people are dying from that shot." I said, "Well, if you've been living as long as I have, back during the time when the flu virus first came out, the same thing was going on with people that had got the flu
polio.
vaccine and polio. You're gonna have different people gonna have different reactions to it, but in order to help everybody to get back to normalcy, we got to participate some kind of way.
I can tell you, it does not hurt.
It does not hurt.
I mean, I've had 2 needles.
Right.
And the first one I didn't even feel at all. The second one I felt a little sting. I did have the Pfizer because I understand that Moderna hasn't come to us yet.
Yeah.
But it does not hurt, and it only takes a second, and you don't have to. Well, I had to go in the afternoon, and I didn't even have to be in a long line, even at the Civic Center, and everything was done orderly. The volunteers are wonderful. Everybody should pat them on the back, because this has been a very confusing issue to everybody.
Getting
the vaccine, getting it set up to let people know, what group is going to get it first, when you're going to have it done. And I watched that all the volunteers, a lot of them were law enforcement officers, some were nurses, some were retirees, but they did it in precision. Everything was done just so. So when you went through that line and then you came out of that line, you had your vaccination, and you didn't have to worry about your car being struck. I mean, I don't drive very well, but they even directed me into a parking space. So it was a very good experience for me. And when people tell me they are not going to get the vaccine, and I know everybody, to each his own. Everybody has their own feeling about it. But when they come back and they want to tell me it's a lot of distrust, the reason they don't want to get it, then I try to explain to them that, suppose everybody had decided not to get the polio vaccine when it came out. We might have polio still around today. Some people just don't feel comfortable, and you can't force people to do what they don't want to do. But I think when they hear reasons why, you should get it. And I do know, I think yesterday it said something like 2% of Hispanics had actually been vaccinated. And I still think it's because a lot of them don't know, and a lot of them are afraid.
Yeah.
So have you heard anybody in the El Fugio or whatever talk about how they plan to get the word out to the people?
No, I haven't. I don't know any website or any news outlet that are targeted to Hispanics talking about it. But for the people that are listening that are Hispanics and Latinos, Um,
Yes,
it's
say
easy.
it in Spanish.
Es bien fácil. Solo necesitan ir al website de Lee County y allí hay un parte que dicen de COVID vaccine y ahí solo necesitan poner el nombre, su cumpleaños y a veces a donde viven y es todo. De allí la gente del Health Department van a llamar, decirte cuándo puedes ir y solo vas a ir, dar tu nombre y ya, no necesitas nada más. Está bien fácil y bien fácil.
Thank you very much. I didn't understand, but I'm sure that they did. We have some listeners, and at one time we had a Hispanic program in the evening. It's not here any longer, but that may be something that we may be looking at down the road. But at least you got the word out, and then somebody else can pass it along to somebody else. Word of mouth sometimes is the best way to go. You just got to tell it.
And I just want to explain some of my symptoms that I had from it, the reactions from it. Like the first shot I had, which I had the Pfizer. The first shot, about a day I had a scratchy throat. My back kind of tightened up. It wasn't painful, but it was just uncomfortable. But then after that next day, it was gone. But I slept like a rock the night before, the night of the shot, And then the next one that I got, the second phase of it, only my arm hurt. But I remember when, my son was young and he's got those vaccinations from school, I remember rubbing the arm down with alcohol and just massaging it. And then the next day that baby was up jumping and running around. So I thought about the same thing. I'll do the same thing to myself. And I was better that next day.
Well, that's the only thing I had the arm. But basically, it's just itching. And I
Yep.
know our ancestors always said, when something itches, that means it's getting
It's
well.
getting
So
well,
I figure it must be getting well because it doesn't hurt anymore. It just itches. But I know our time's about up. But what parting words do you have for people, both of you, to get them at least to read about or learn something about the vaccine?
Research it. There are a lot of people who have information on it. The health department has a wide variety of information. As a matter of fact, when I leave here, I'm going to try to get in touch with them and see if there's any kind of flyers that we can pass out. Maybe we pass the flyers out and then people can, get an understanding of the different phases in which I have seen where the governor is getting to the point Walgreens is going to be able to start giving the vaccinations too.
Well, I did see you in one county, and I think it's close by us. They said they've realized that to get the word out to certain groups, you've got to put the information out. So
Yes,
what
ma'am.
they've chosen to do, Walmart, barbershops,
There we go.
beauty shops. And there was one of the what did I tell you, John? There was one of the places, 4 places that they said everybody goes to Walmart, everybody goes to the beauty and barbershop,
And food
basically.
line.
And Piggly Wiggly. Put the signs up in there, and
Yep.
people will stop and read that.
Yep.
Maybe put the sign in their grocery bags when they're coming out of the grocery store. That way, you say, I've done my part.
That's right.
I've reached the masses. And then if they choose not to get it, that's on them.
Yeah.
And then I think one other misconception that people have, they think that once they get the shot, you can throw the mask away.
No.
And you can't do that. The governor and Mandy Cohen have been trying to explain, you have to wear the mask. They'll tell us when some people are saying about late spring, we may be able to take off the mask. Some are saying about Christmas, we may be able to take off the mask. But at this point, nobody is certain if it all worked.
Right.
There's always going to be that certain percentage that it didn't work on. So you never know who you are with who may still have the virus or whatever. Therefore, you have to wear the mask. You have to keep your distance. You have to continue to wash your hands. And a lot of people are just throwing the mask down. If you walk now, once you see if you go to places where they've been giving vaccinations, you see masks all over the ground. People are throwing them down. They say, oh, goody, I've got it now. I can take this off, and they're doing it. So we have to make sure that people understand you've got to continue to wear the mask.
Right.
Goes hand in hand. Vaccine
exactly.
and mask.
So what parting words do you have, Catherine?
Same as the major research. That's the only way that people are going to understand what it is and not be afraid of it, and then eventually get it.
Thank you very much, and I'm so glad that the two of you decided that this was something that
This was like heavy on my
you
heart.
needed to do, and maybe
Very heavy.
if you get 25 people out of this bunch, you've
Yes,
done
ma'am.
well.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And
Thank you for
stay
having
safe.
us.